Sadashiva Samarambam Shankarashaya Madhyamam Asmadashaya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Shanti 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 Om. So I got a couple of questions from Karen. Anybody else has sent me any questions that maybe I did not see? No, no? Karen, the first question of yours was about Isvara and Brahman, right?
Yes, yes.
So have you read or heard Ramji talking in terms of Isvara 1 and Isvara 2?
Yes.
Okay. So he brought this notion of Isvara 1 and Isvara 2 as an attempt to make a clear-cut distinction between Nirguna Brahman or Nirguna Ishvara. What is Nirguna Ishvara? This is a easy way to understand. Nirguna Brahman or Nirguna Ishvara is Brahman before association with Maya or before it enters in operation. You understand? So Brahman.
And that's Ishvara 1.
Ishvara 1, which is equal to the absolute Brahman, the Brahman.
Okay, okay.
Non-manifest, okay? Which is equal to Brahman, not colored by the three gunas. It's Nirguna. It's not yet associated with the three gunas. It's not associated with Maya. So that is Nirguna Ishvara or Nirguna Brahman. So Ramji came up with this notion of Ishvara 1 and Ishvara 2 because the scriptures very often, they say Ishvara and one has to read through to understand the context to find out if the scripture refers to Brahman, the absolute Brahman, or the relative Brahman, the manifest Brahman as the Lord of this manifest universe. So the Lord of this manifest universe is already mithya, you know, and it is made fundamentally, basically, of pure knowledge, intelligence, sattva. You know, this is Ishvara in its essence. But Ishvara too is mithya. Ishvara as the Lord, this living, conscious, self-conscious being, which is not limited by any body, okay? But it is a totality of the manifest, but it exists as well as the potential for the manifestation, you know, as sattva. So as the macrocosmic causal body. So this Brahman is already an effect of Maya, and therefore it's said to be, it's referred as Saguna Brahman. Brahman manifests as the famous God that people talk to and ask things, you know, and pray for help and all of that. So this Brahman, which is manifest as all these deities, you know, all these different kind of devas that exist within the Vedic culture. This is how Brahman manifests as this order, this intelligent order that projects, maintains, and recycles this manifestation, the cosmos. Okay, so this is Saguna Brahman. Brahman, once it is associated or affected or conditioned by the three gunas, by Maya. So you understand, so when you read the scriptures, you have to be careful when you read the Upanishads and so on, and some other texts as well, to see if when they say Ishvara, if it refers to Ishvara 1, you know, or Ishvara 2. Nirguna Ishvara or Saguna Ishvara, okay? Essentially fundamentally, there is no difference between Ishvara and Saguna Ishvara. Why? Because in its essence, in its fundamental essence, nature, Saguna Ishvara is Nirguna Ishvara. You understand? It just is an effect, by the effect of Maya itself, it appears as the intelligent, the efficient cause of the universe. So, but in its essence, the Lord, the laws to which all our prayers are addressed, the Lord fundamentally is Brahman, is Nirguna Brahman. The same way the Jiva fundamentally in its essence is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Jagata, Jiva, and Ishvara fundamentally in truth is Brahman. Brahman appearing as this three principle, Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat. Okay, but it's all Brahman. It's all, that's why the Jiva, due to this refined intellect, has the privilege of acquiring this knowledge, this self-knowledge. So we have this potential. That's the upside of being a human Jiva. Otherwise, it would be much better if we were born like cats and dogs. But we have a potential that the cats and the dogs do not, which is to recognize our true, fundamental, free, independent essence, nature, as Brahman. Which takes us to your next question, because your next question, you talk about that, right, Karen? Can you repeat it, please?
Well, it was a passage from the Essence of Enlightenment. Now I lost it. My notepad just fell out, my marker. Shoot, what page did I say?
I have it here.
Okay, I lost it.
Yeah, there is a passage on that chapter that says that there is a beautiful and extremely important statement in the Upanishads, which is the essence of Vedanta. In fact, it's attributed to Shankaracharya, one of the great luminaries of Vedanta. Brahma, Satyam, Jagan, Mithya, Jivu, Brahma, Iva, Naparaha. So just by coincidence, last class, we mentioned about that. So what is your doubt about this statement, this mantra? Brahma, Satyam, Jagan, Mithya, Jivu, Brahma, Iva, Naparaha.
I guess it's the real and the apparently real. I guess it's still confusing to me. I guess that what's real is what is never leaves, which is consciousness. So, but then, he was talking about what's real in me as far as my intellect, emotions. Well, it is temporary, and I guess that's still hard for me to grasp, that we aren't the mind, body.
Yeah. So that Upanishadic statement, it says that Brahman Satyam. So Brahma is the only reality, is Sat, is the only existence. Okay. So it exists and exists as that which is always ever present without ever modifying. Okay, so this principle is the only truth, is the only reality. So it says that Brahman is Satyam, and then says that Jagata, the world, the world, this universe, the cosmos. Are you with me, Karen?
Yes.
Okay, and then
I was forgetting the meaning of Jagat, so I was jotting.
Yeah. Okay. So Jagata, which is the world, three factors: Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. Jagata is the field, the Dhamma field, our environment, our planet, our cosmos. Okay, the manifest universe, that is Jagat. So we say that Brahma is the only reality, Satyam. Okay, it's the only truth. And then says that Jagata is Mithya. Mithya is altogether of a different category. It's not it's not real. But in the same way, it's not really not real in the sense that it does not exist. So we have a different category for mithya, you know? It's, I forgot in some, but it's not sat, it's not a sat, it's sat and a sat reality, okay? So what it means? It means that it does exist, but it exists as something that is just an appearance, okay? So there are several things that we can see in our in our experience, you know, of phenomenon, phenomenal objects, physical and so on, that they exist, but we know that they are not real, but yet we experience, yet they exist, okay? But there is another category of things that do not exist, and the most common example in our text is like the whore of a butterfly. So when we talk about the whores of a butterfly, okay, we are talking about something that is totally asat, it's totally non-existent, okay? It does not exist. So Brahman is Sat, the only reality, that which is really existing all through and through, regardless of the appearance or disappearance of the cosmos, okay? There is this principle, which is our subjective conscious existence awareness, which is the only reality, which is always ever present, okay? So there is this, which is Satyam, and then there is Jagat, which is mithya, which is an apparent reality. It does exist the same way that all the ornaments of gold do exist, but they don't have an independent, a substantial nature reality. You know, the nature of every ornament of gold is gold itself. Okay, so likewise, the nature of everything that we see in the cosmos is consciousness existence, and it is of the nature of Ananda, limitlessness. Okay, so we have that, that Brahman is Satyam, Jagata is Mithya. It has this other category. It does exist, but it's not real. It's just an appearance, like a mirage in the desert. Okay, so it's almost as good as nothing, because it will never be able to really satisfy the thirst of the jiva. For example, the guy who is walking in the desert and it's very thirst. So what is the good of that mirage? It's no good. It's just an appearance. It is experience, but once the thirst traveler goes close, it cannot really help him, because it is an appearance. The same way we say that Jagat is mithya, and it's almost as good as non-existent, is because the jiva has the problem of trying to solve its condition as if mithya could really do the job. All the objects of the mithya are never going to solve this problem. Therefore, we say that it's unreal and it's almost as good as non-existent. You understand? As far as moksha is concerned, okay? Mm-hmm. And then the third stage of that statement is that the individual soul, the jiva, is not different from Brahman. And then the third aspect, the third stage of that Mahavakya, that declaration, it says that the individual soul, the individual jiva, in its nature is the same. It's not different from Brahman. Okay? So now it goes to this apparent contradiction. The nature of jiva is real. The jiva is not real, but its nature is real. So how are we going to reconcile this apparent contradiction? Okay? Because we keep saying that the jiva is just not real, it's just an appearance, it's just an object, it comes and goes, it's not ever present, it keeps changing notions, ideas, sadhanas, it changes everything. But yet there is something about the jiva which is real. Okay? So that's what this statement and all the statement, all the Upanishad statements, they are mantras, they are Mahavakyas, they are statements of equity or equanimity or how you say equity, you know, equity or equity. Please help me. Equity?
It's, I think you're looking for equity, I guess, with a T. Is that the, but I don't know if that's the right word.
Maybe equity.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Make an equation, you say this equal that, okay? Yeah. So the Jiva equal to Brahman. But we need to understand in which...
I think you're looking for equality.
Equality, right.
Thank you. Yeah, equality. Yeah. Okay? These Mahavakyas, all our mantras, all our statements, Upanishadic statements, it shows, it presents, it establishes this equality between the Jiva and Brahman. But then we need all these teachings so that we understand in which way Jiva is equal to Brahman and which way Jiva is not equal to Brahman. Otherwise we get confused, we superimpose. You understand? We get mixed up. So please, what you were going to say a few minutes ago, Karen, if you remember.
Yes, I guess, so another word for real would be permanent. Is that correct? Something that doesn't leave.
Yeah, it's always present.
Always present, okay.
Something that's timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah, not bound by time.
So, I mean, are you really talking about, you know, a Satchitananda? I mean, I remember we went into that in great detail. I think like maybe the Tattva-bodha, but we talked about that expression of Satchitananda, and you're using the same words.
Well, Satchitananda is a different statement which refers to the very nature of Brahman. Brahman is of the nature of existence, Sat. Existence is that which exists at all times, at all host, all place, and so on. It's the only thing that never runs out of existence. And what it is, it's the conscious existence principle that witness, you know, this apparent universe, cosmos. Everything that we witness, that we experience, we know, requires this presence, this conscious existence subject principle, which is the only thing that never disappears. It's always present. Everything occurs within this light of consciousness existence. Okay? So this is Sat, that which is always present and never changes, okay, and not bound by time, and so on. And then Chit goes to another nature of Brahman. Brahman is not only the nature of existence, but it's of the nature of consciousness. Okay? So, and then we need all these teachings to unfold the meaning of this pointer, or this word called consciousness, and then also to clear all the misunderstanding and confusion between pure consciousness and reflected consciousness, because this pure consciousness is just the consciousness before, not only before, but before and after Maya comes into place. Okay, so this pure consciousness, it may appear as an experience of Jiva's consciousness and Jiva's knowledge. Okay, every Jiva has this experience of I know, I see, I experience, I'm conscious. You know, we have no doubt. We know that this conscious principle is all the time with us. We know even when we in deep sleep, we know that this consciousness is all the time. Oh, Junior came back again. He went and he came back. So this Jiva, it's if he follows the logic of the scriptures, you know, if he follows those logic as presented, he will understand that even in deep sleep, my conscious existence remains, my sat chit remain, my consciousness, my knowledge principle. Consciousness is related to this aspect of us that can see, experience, and react and respond to our environment, that we can witness things and we can know things. It's often also referred as pure knowledge or knowingness. So it manifests as sattva, okay? It manifests as sattva, and it gives us the possibility to have this experience of being conscious of our existence. So what's the nature of Brahman? Is existence and consciousness. And existence and consciousness are like the two sides of the same coin, okay? Is that we are that by nature that exists and is conscious. We are conscious of our existence, okay? And we are intelligent, conscious of our existence, no? So this is the nature of Brahman. They are not attributes of Brahman. They are the very nature of Brahman. And then the third aspect of Brahman is Ananta. So Ananta is the third aspect of Brahmans, of our very nature, which is the most difficult one to really take in, accept, you know, and live from that angle, which is the aspect of Brahman called Ananta. Ananta means lack of limitation, limitlessness. There is nothing that limits me. So I'm not limited by time and space. So I am all pervasive. I pervade everything. Brahman is this aspect of our existence called existence consciousness, which, by the way, is all pervasive. The substratum of mithya appears as a superimposition on I, consciousness, existence, you know. And in my conscious existence, I'm also of the nature of limitlessness. So this limitlessness, the third aspect of the nature of Brahman, is what allows us to really enjoy what is referred to as moksha, because our fear is derived by this misconception that my conscious existence depends on the body, mind, and this body is time bound because we see people being born and dying. So this misconception that my conscious existence depends on this construct makes it very difficult for us to assimilate my nature as all pervasive, that which is always ever present and nothing can limit. There are no borders. Yeah? There are no limitations. I'm that which exists pervading the entire mithya, and mithya is just a small little phenomenon occurring within the scope of my conscious existence, my infinite. So understanding that I do not depend on the physical body to shine as conscious existence, that principle that concedes, lends conscious existence to everything there is in mithya, this is instrumental, is fundamental for us to really enjoy our moksha. Our moksha is to be free from the notion that my conscious existence depends on this body. You understand? And that is the most difficult part to really accept fully and totally. Otherwise, it's relatively easy for us to understand that we exist and we are conscious. And then we go through these Upanishad teachings that explains the difference between original consciousness and reflected consciousness and all these different concepts and notions to make a distinction between this entity that appears as the jiva, consciousness shining in a subtle body. It appears as this jiva phenomenon. So understand the jiva nature as equal to Brahman nature, but at the same time understand what in this jiva is different from Brahman. You understand? So the intellect, the mind of the jiva, the ego of the jiva, everything in the jiva which is subject to change is that which is not really equal to Brahman. No? But that in the jiva which is not subject to change is what is equal to Brahman. So the whole work is to understand that we are this conscious existence, limitless principle that shines in the subtle body of the jiva, and I'm not a mere reflection, and much less I'm not the subtle body, and much less I'm not the physical body, that in which the subtle body can function. You understand? Through, yeah, or by which, you know, through which. So understanding that I am the light shining and vivifying, you know, animating this body-mind construct is the key for us to enjoy our moksha. And this requires a certain work on our side, inquiry and contemplation, until we understand clearly. And then this misconception that my conscious existence depends on the body is broken. You understand? And then it's broken. And once it's broken, you cannot be put together. Ignorance, once it's broken, it cannot be glued together, put together. You see through, and then your knowledge is of doubtless knowledge. Your conviction is 100%. You know, I am the light. I have always been the light. Everything is the light of conscious existence. Okay, and I don't go. And then somebody comes to you, but what is the good of having this hard and fast self-knowledge if you are not going to enjoy this knowledge, or you are not going to enjoy your conscious existence once your body dies? Man, this is a common problem that jivas have. Okay, I have this knowledge, and if I really work on that, I may realize that I am the light, I am conscious existence, and I do not depend on the body. But then what happens when this partnership between I consciousness and this body, through which consciousness recognizes its free true nature, what happens when this association, this connection, this partnership is disrupted? You know, it's broken. You know, what's going to happen to consciousness? What's going to happen to jiva? Huh? So the jiva is free from having to come back and begin a new cycle of experience, of working one's karma, because it's understood that I am Brahman, I am consciousness. Therefore, I don't have enough desires and aversions to bring about another body. You understand? I can rest in my true nature as consciousness. And by the way, if I don't have this individual soul to shine again in a new birth, what's the big deal? I have all the jivas in the universe to shine, you know, to shine my conscious existence. So this is the most difficult part for some people to understand. Once this sense of identity shifts by the means of knowledge, this fear that I will lose my conscious existence goes, because in any case, you know, as long as pralaya, the end of the cosmos, yeah, or the night of Brahman does not come about, but as long as the day of Brahman is shining, that is a notion, it's a concept, it's present all over the Vedas. As long as this day of Brahman is shining, I have all the jivas to shine. I shine my conscious existence, and I become this experiencing, knowing entity called my jivas. The eternal jiva is always there at my disposal. But this individual soul, somehow, due to knowledge, it dispels the ignorance that keeps us trapped over and over again into this cycle of new births, lives, running to gain, running to avoid all this, you know, the rat race and so on, try to avoid, you know, the death or the illness of the body or the decay of the body. And so this whole cycle called samsara comes to an end if one self-realization brings about a total or almost total, let's say, cancellations of all desires or fears or aversions, you know. So anybody would like to say something?
So we come here into this body to realize our consciousness and also work out karmas. Is that, or that's just a smaller principle, I guess?
No, it is. We get a new birth again and again for the sake of working our karmas, finishing up certain business, you know. We have all these things that were not properly resolved with so many circumstances. We are this mental, emotional, energetic body, which is basically our vasanas, our desires and fears, our likes and dislikes. And this is going to remain as a constitution, an individual soul. It remains for as long as this huge vasana, the most fundamental vasana we have, is still alive. What is this vasana? It's a vasana to experience the world. I have this huge vasana to experience because of this, because of that. I have to solve the problem with my father, with my daughter, with my son. I have this big project that it was interrupted because I was too old. I want to come back and carry on. I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be a king, I want to be a guru, whatever. Anything, any thought, any desire may bring us back. So this is the opportunity. This birth that give us the opportunity to keep working our karmas, you know, our vasanas, until they burn out, until they somehow they begin being converted to one main, simple, powerful vasana, which is the vasana to put an end to this game of running, to gain and to avoid. So when that vasana, that desire to put an end to this addiction to experience, when the desire is converting to a desire to contemplate, understand, and know my true nature, you know, that which is already whole, full, and complete. So when this desire is there, and then the other desires begin being consumed by this desire. So then we have a life that is conducive to this self-realization, this knowledge. And then there is a potential, there is a possibility that due to a deep, very profound dispassion, what is dispassion? This desire to experience the world is no longer really there, you know. It's not that the yoni is against the world, but this desire, this compelling, this addiction to experience the world is no longer there. So if it is, this binding vasana is not there, and then there is a possibility that we do not need another birth to carry on our running to gain, running to avoid. You know, it's nothing, but it's all about that. I want what I want, and if I run out of time now, I need another medium so that I can carry on my karmas. I can carry on my actions to achieve completion. It's all about achieving completion. The yoni is the one who knows, understood that her is already complete, whole, full. And there is nothing that can be done by anyone to achieve this fullness, this completion. So this is a yoni, okay? So therefore, it does not have this huge motivation to be going out there to doing things as a means to complete. This problem was resolved by the means of jnana, knowledge. Understand? So this is an opportunity for us to grow in maturity until we understand we understand that only knowledge, understanding, can put an end on this addiction, this binding addiction to experience as a means to resolve my condition as a jiva. That's why we say that mithya, although it exists, is almost as good as non-existent. Why? Because it's not going to solve the fundamental problem of the jiva will never be solved by the means of objects of experience produced by mithya. You understand? So, and then mithya, for a seeker of moksha, mithya begin being seen as something almost as good as non-existent, because it will never solve my problem. And then this passion begin growing, and this desire for touching, feeling, hearing, and tasting, so all this desire for experience, it begins being converted to this huge desire to understand the statements of the Upanishads, contemplate, investigate, inquiring, study over and over until it's clear. You understand, Karen?
Yes, I do. I guess one thought I keep having is, well, like Marianne Williamson says, we're here to love.
No, so, not here to love. We are love. We are this principle.
We are the principle.
Jiva is here. All this talk about we are here to love it most come from a platform of need to be loved. Most people say, all we need is love, but they want love in the first place, because nobody has self-love. Self-love comes with self-knowledge, understand?
Is the fundamental love, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we are not really here to love, although love is our nature as consciousness manifest as wisdom, It's compassion in that sense. Okay, so we are here to work our karma until we understand that we don't need love, because we are the very source of love. Every desire we have is a desire for security and love somehow. We want to resolve this problematic, which is the sense of insecurity that the jiva experiences, and we want to resolve the other fundamental problem of the jiva, which is a sense of inadequacy. The sense of inadequacy, it can be resolved if we get everybody to validate us as, oh, you are great. Mm-hmm. Or you are the most lovable person, you are brilliant, and so on. So we try to resolve this sense of inadequacy, that way as well. But that will never work. No matter how loving, how beautiful, how wise you are, there will be always people that do not like us. There will be people trying to even attack us sometimes if we don't say things that they agree. So we are here to grow. We are here to learn, to understand, to connect the dots, and to understand that there is nothing we can do in mithya in terms of our actions that is going to resolve this fundamental problem of the jiva, which is insecurity and the sense of inadequacy. Please give me love, give me appreciation, give me validation. Give. I'm insecure. I'm insecure also emotionally, psychologically. I'm all insecure here. You understand? So I need to secure myself with all the physical, material possessions I may gain. I secure myself by keeping certain relationships with other people. I can try to secure myself by trying to read and knowing everything possible that could give me a sense that I'm a knowledgeable man or woman, But all of these activities are going to fall short, because the only knowledge that's going to put an end to these vasanas, you know, is self-knowledge. These needs, the needs, I need something to resolve my problem. We don't find that in Jagata. We find that in, in Satya.
Arlindo, these days I was thinking about we say non-experiential consciousness and experiential witness consciousness. We talk about also, we read something about that Monday. And it is also more or less what we talk now. And can we say a little bit, can we talk about the difference between, what does it mean exactly that the consciousness is not experiential, is not experiencing things? Does it mean that, because for example, the pure consciousness sees everything, but it does not experience the experience like a body mind, a jiva. Is this correct? But it sees the what happens. Right?
This is your favorite question, and it's a very good question. It's it's going to become subtler and subtler until you understand this very, very clear, you know. But that is the main difference between knowledge and experience. So experientially speaking, so we can experience consciousness as we have determined several times. We experience consciousness as a reflection in our sattvic mind. And by yoga, or even by self-inquiry, we can develop a sattvic mind, and then we experience consciousness reflect in our mind. And when that experience is present, if I have the knowledge of the Upanishads available in my mind, and then I may apprehend that what I am is not the reflection of light on this mirror-like apparatus, but I am the original light. Okay? So one may apprehend that, oh, I'm enjoying here experientially the reflection of consciousness in my own subtle body. Okay, I'm experiencing that. And therefore, I can understand that a reflected light is only possible if there is an original light. If there is a reflection, it must, by inference, we know that there is an original light. Now, again, inference. Self-knowledge is not inferential knowledge. Okay? Self-knowledge is paroksha jnana, is direct knowledge. Okay? But we use a lot of inferential determinations, understandings, logics, analysis. So to understand that the reflected light, it brings about the knowledge that there is such a thing as original light. Okay? So now we know that I'm experiencing this reflect consciousness in my mind, which, by the way, it's not only experienced as bliss, as silence, as peace. When the mind is very sattvic, it is experienced like, wow, this is great. This is much better than food and sex combined, as I often say. Okay, I'm experiencing this reflection. My mind is sattvic, therefore I have this experience of love, of bliss, of silence, of peace, of presence, whatever, you name it. Yeah? So this is when the mind is sattvic. But once we have this knowledge, we have the experience of consciousness shine in my mind, even when my mind is rajasic. How I'm going to experience consciousness as stress. And then, oh, there is stress. Oh, here I am, shine again on a rajasic mind. It's the same determination, the same logic, the same conclusion. So now I experience myself It's stress. So does it mean that I'm no longer shine? No, I'm that which shines all the time. Even when the mind is in deep sleep or in samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, I'm shining, okay? So when my mind is rajasic or tamasic, likewise, I am shining, okay? It's just that those experience of consciousness reflect on a sattvic mind. They are better symbols of consciousness, because when the mind is sattvic, we often experience silence, peace, clarity, okay? And so on. And those are attributes of Sattva Guna, okay? And Sattva Guna is the closest thing to consciousness. You understand? It's the mind, the intelligent principle, you know, by which the universe comes into manifestation, you know, the efficient, the intelligent cause of the cosmos. So when our mind is very sattvic, we have certain experience that are beautiful symbols of our true nature. But those experiences, they are not our true nature. So our true nature, what is our true nature? Our true nature is consciousness existence, the original consciousness, before, during, and after it bounces on this mirror-like apparatus and appears as the jiva mind. You understand? Our consciousness is pervading everything. It's shining even before it produces these states of consciousness, mental states of the jiva. You understand? So now, how I'm going to reconcile this problem that I cannot really experience my conscious existence because the experiential element comes only as a reflection. So now how I'm going to experience my true self? You understand? So this is the problem of most people in the spiritual world. That's their difficulty to accept the Upanishads, you know, because they want. And the Upanishads declares very, very strongly, you know, sharply, that consciousness, Brahman, is not an object of knowledge and it's not an object of experience. So now, how am I going to experience myself if I can only experience the reflection of myself? You understand? How am I going to experience myself? And then the Upanishad comes and says, by knowledge alone, you will experience yourself. Oh, this is strange. By knowledge, I'm going to experience. Yeah, only by knowledge, you're going to experience yourself. Only by knowledge, you're going to relax in this game of trying to know yourself, experience yourself, be yourself, merge with yourself, become yourself. All this game is over when we clearly understand that I am myself, I am the only self, I am shining through this jiva and I'm shine through all other jivas. Therefore, all experience is my experience. Every experience is the experience of the self. Understand? Experience through all the mediums, all the jivas, all these experiencing entities. You understand? So how are we going to experience myself? It's an experience of identity based on pure knowledge in respect to what I really am. But this knowledge, it only resolves the problem of the jiva when it's really clear to the extent of becoming a fact, no longer an idea and notion and a concept or a wishful mantra, you know, or exercise or a sadhana. There are all these beautiful teachings making this distinction about how we're going to work on these mantras with these Mahavakyas, the Upanishad. We can work with them on different levels. Okay? So indirect means not to know something that later on becomes a direct means when the jiva understands, you know, that I am Brahman. And then there is no question of I am Brahman to be a sadhana that's trying to convince myself that I am really Brahman. As long as I'm still trying to convince myself that I'm of the nature of Ananda, limitlessness. Nothing can affect me, nothing can touch me, and so on. As long as I'm still working on it, so this Aham Brahmasmi presented by the Upanishads is still a sadhana to us. The moment that it becomes a fact, you know, a clear knowledge, understanding, and then this need to become it, to experience it, to know it as something other than myself, it just vanishes. And then that becomes what we call paroksha jnana, you know, direct and immediate knowledge. So there is only Brahman, there is only consciousness, and I am that. Understand? And this is gained by the means of knowledge. And this knowledge is a very, very liberating knowledge, because it's the only way Jiva can resolve this problem of insecurity and inadequacy. You understand? And it's mysterious in some way. It's clear knowledge, it's logic, it's based on our unexamined experience of day-to-day experience of life. But this knowledge is a little bit like mysterious in the sense that a lot of people understands it intellectually, academically, you know, but yet that knowledge does not really get converted in a paroksha jnana, direct knowledge, a knowledge that I am that and now I see it. It's no longer a question of a sadhana, an exercise that I'm doing to become Brahman. I see it directly. I understand it. I see it intellectually. And this click of understanding is something that sometimes, you know, I wonder why some people understand it and some people have a little more hard time to accept that. It's more a question of accepting it. Huh? Why it's so difficult to accept something that is so liberating? Why? So go and guess. You know? And then the scriptures say because there are certain qualifications that are not fully developed. And then one develops qualifications and then he say, yes, maybe there is some blocks. Yeah? We can come up with any ideas. And then you hear some other swamis or some other teachers like Ramji say, yes, at the end, we also need the grace of Isvara, the grace of Brahman, the grace of the Lord. You understand? So it remains still something like that. It's difficult to understand sometimes, you know, why we jivas, we have such a hard time to accept this declaration as a fact, you know. But we know that the main obstruction is all the notions and ideas that we have in respect to what we really are. All this limiting, self-insulting, as Ramji likes to say, self-limiting and self-insulting notions and ideas about what I am, which is something that we all receive in society. You know, it's the heritage, you know, that we receive. This ignorance is passed over. And it's sometimes, somehow it is difficult to be destroyed, this ignorance. We often say this self-ignorance is very, very hardwired in our psychics, you know, in our minds and so on. But we have no other way around it. We need to keep working, keep doing our inquiry, our study, our contemplation, until this knowledge is firm. It's a clear and firm knowledge, a hard and fast knowledge. It's a doubt-free knowledge, you know. I am consciousness, I am existence, and I'm also of the nature of no limitation. There is nothing lacking in my conscious existence. You understand, Claudio?
Yes.
Do you accept that you are the light?
Yes. Yes, it's always more clear. Now in this moment, I do all the work to see this new logic, this new Vedanta logic with the old notions that I had. That was a little bit interesting, but of course not so clear. So I also struggling a little bit because my old knowledge now it's it's this moment a little bit hard. So but it's clear. It's very interesting what we say now, and I needed, of course, I needed to hear it again, maybe in the video, and
yeah, feel free.
But it's like it's like that you with knowledge it's like interpreting correctly the objects that you see in reality, in mithya, we say. It's like you experience directly consciousness because you have the knowledge to interpret reality, right? This is like that.
Yeah. So you have this Vedanta. You mean about the Vedantic knowledge, this body of
knowledge? Yes.
Yeah. You have this body of knowledge to re-examine our experiences, objectively, following this revealed knowledge. Ishvara revealed to us because it took pit on us, you know. It understood that without a little help, it would be very difficult. So we follow Ishvara's logic that somehow sheds some light on our experience. And then we re-examine our experience, you know, in the light of this knowledge. And then we start agreeing or not agreeing with the statements of the Upanishad. If we agree. I say it's true, you know, it's true. I am consciousness and I'm always ever free because, you know, even this human consciousness that I enjoy, this reflection, you know, this mind, this intellect that I enjoy, it implies the presence of something which is the real conscious existence, intelligent principle. There is something, you know, that makes this, you know, an experiencing, knowing, conscious, existing entity. So we have to really look until we agree with those statements. So once we agree with all the statements, and then we say, okay, and I not only agree, but I accept it because I understood that this knowledge, which is based on my very, very experience of day-to-day experience of life, this knowledge is a freeing knowledge, it's a liberating knowledge. And then I fully accept it. And then once we accept it, we still have to work on what we call nididhyasana. Because even after we accept it, we're going to have to deal with a whole load of ignorance-based vasanas that are going to be challenging that understanding, that acceptance of those statements, you know. So those determination, those clarities that you have, that these vasanas are going to be pressing your intellect, you know, challenging. So we still need to keep doing our nididhyasana until we offset all these vasanas, these huge vasanas, this body of vasanas, this vasana load, which is based on all these notions and ideas and experience from the time that I was totally under the spell of Maya, self-ignorance. So now I have the opportunity to work on, on reprogramming my causal body. I want to develop vasanas, you understand? Tendencies to think, feel, and interpret my experience. And I want to have these vasanas, these beautiful spiritual vasanas based on knowledge, well set in my causal body. And then it becomes very easy, you know, you just leave from that platform, and then your self-knowledge, it becomes less a sadhana and more a spontaneous fact or knowledge that constantly is there available to offset, you know, the challenge and difficulties that we all experience in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever we are experiencing favorable circumstance, we like Maya, we like samsara, we like ignorance when things are working in agreement with our likes and dislikes. So the big deal is when things, you know, when the karmas, the parabdha karmas, they come, they're no longer in alignment with what I want. So, and then we need this knowledge to know that, you know, what I am is absolutely free from punya and papa, is absolutely free from favorable and unfavorable circumstance, you know. So we need to keep doing this work until we no longer have those ignorance-based vasanas troubling us.
Yeah. Very clarifying. Thank you.
Anything else? Are you okay, Karen?
Yes.
Good.
That's good. Practice, practice, keep working at it.
Yeah, I am. In any case, this is the best game in town. There's nothing better to do in life than to working on our self-knowledge, cleaning up our ignorance, you know, our self-ignorance. There's nothing better than keep working on these qualifications, this reprogramming of our causal body. There's nothing better to do in life, because we are working on a very primary instrument by which we can enjoy samsara. Otherwise, we're going to keep suffering samsara, you know. So we better stop trying to control the field, but we try to rather work on our minds, you know, our intellect. Purify, refine our intellect, feed it with knowledge so that we can enjoy whatsoever our life, you know, is going to be unfolding. Life is going to be unfolded to us as our prarabdha karmas. Okay? Okay. So then let's call it. I have a meeting later on, so I better save some of my voice. And we'll see what's going to happen with our little Sangha. I had a conversation with Dave yesterday. I think he's going to send an email to see if we may attract some other people. And we go from there. I'm always available, as you all know. I thank you all for your donations. It has been and if I don't hear from you, we meet again this coming Monday. And if you know Portuguese, like Junior. We can meet this Saturday and this Sunday in Portuguese. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everybody. Namaskara. We'll see you soon again.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Ishwara willing.
Beautiful session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank
Ciao.
you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Love, 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 love. We are love.
Bye-bye.